Vera Clathon spoke in a trembling voice. She said, "I'd like to tell you about that child, Cyril Hamilton. I was nursery governess to him. He was forbidden to swim out far. One day, when my attention was distracted, he started off. I swam after him. I couldn't get there in time. It was awful, but it wasn't my fault. At the inquest of the coroner exonerated me. And his mother, she was so kind. If even she didn't blame me, why should this awful thing be said? It's not fair, not fair." She broke down, weeping bitterly. General MacArthur patted her shoulder. He said, "Dear, dear, my dear, of course it's not true. Fellow's a madman, got a bee in his bonnet, got hold of the wrong end of the stick all around." He stood erect, squaring his shoulders. He barked out, "Best really to leave this sort of thing unanswered. However, I feel I ought to say no truth. No truth whatever in what he said about young Arthur Rickmont. Rickmont was one of my officers. I sent him on reconnaissance. He was killed. Natural course of events in wartime. Wish to say resent very much. Slur on my wife. Best women in the world. Absolutely. Caesar's wife." General MacArthur sat down. His shaking hand pulled at his mustache. This effort to speak had cost him a good deal. Lombard spoke. His eyes were amused. He said, "About those natives." Marston said, "What about them?" Philip Lombard grinned. "Stories quite true. I left them. Matter of self-preservation. We were lost in the bush. I and a couple of other fellows took what food there was and cleared out. General MacArthur said sternly, "You abandoned your men, left them to starve?" Lombard said, "Not quite the act of Pukka Sahib, I am afraid, but self-preservation's a man's first duty. And natives don't mind dying, They don't feel about it as Europeans do." Vera lifted her face from her hands. She said, staring at him, "You left them to die?" Lombard answered, "I left them to die." His amused eyes looked into her horrified ones. Anthony Marston said in a slow, puzzled voice, "I have just been thinking. John and Lucy Combis must have been a couple of kids I ran over near Cambridge. Beastly bad luck." Mr. Justice Wargrave said acidly, "For them, or for you?" Anthony said, "Well, I was thinking for me. But of course you're right, sir. It was damned bad luck on them. Of course, it was a pure accident. They rushed out of some cottage or other. I had my license suspended for a year. Beastly nuisance." Dr. Armstrong said warmly, "This speeding's all wrong. All wrong. Young men like you are in danger to the community." Anthony shrugged his shoulders. He said, "Speeds come to stay. English roads are hopeless. Of course, can't get up a decent pace on them." He looked round vaguely for his glass, picked it up off a table, and went over to the side table and helped himself to another whiskey and soda. He said over his shoulder, "Well, anyway, it wasn't my fault. Just an accident."